So, unfortunately, I had a little problem with the primer I applied last night, and I had to sand it all back, go buy some more primer, prime it again, because it was too hot and the spray had basically dried like sandpaper, and it basically dried within a couple of seconds of it laying onto the surface. So we had to give it a sand back, a re-primer. So we're now at the stage of being ready for paint. I've just primed it, gave it all a sand down with an 800 grit, and then what I'm gonna do, and then I've wiped it with the isopropyl with the IPO. I'll say the word right one of these times. But anyway, so now we will get ready for paint. Well, no, we're ready for paint. So I'm going to get my camera, put on a tripod, and then we'll get to painting. So here we're starting to lay our first base coat of paint. I'm just trying to apply it nice and thin to just get that start coverage. But as you're about to see, it's going to go wrong. Wow. I'm not actually too sure why the paint splattered here, but what I'm doing now is I'm taking a very fine grit sandpaper and I'm just sanding it down until it's all smooth with the tank again, ready for me to start painting over it. I don't want to go too hard, because if I go too hard, I'll go through the primer and have to start it all over again. So now that the tank is all completely smooth, I'm just going to grab the IPO again and wipe off all the dust from what I've just sanded, so we're ready for paint again. With the tank all prepped and ready to go again, I've applied a base coat already at this point, and now I'm starting to lay on a slightly heavier coat of paint. As you can probably tell though, I'm not the best at this. Right, so we've now got the Halfords Body Shop lacquer, and just like everything else, going to give it a shake for a couple of minutes, and then we're actually going to apply it on. Going to do like a dusted first coat, and then probably do 2 to 3 heavy coats. Well, building our way up to really heavy anyway. Right, so unfortunately, when putting the second to last, well, almost would have been last coat probably, we had a slight, basically for some reason when I was spraying, it's almost like a blob of lacquer come out instead of just it coming out evenly. So what we've now got is, it's hard to even, basically just that little blob right around there. Basically because of that, I'm probably going to have to wait longer, sand it all back again. Well, not sand it all back again, sorry. Sand that little bit back just to smooth it out, and then add the final coat of clear, which is annoying because everything else actually come out really well. So there's always something in there. So, but yeah, unfortunately, I'm going to have to leave that probably until tomorrow now, or later on in the evening, and then yeah, go from there. It's the next day, and I've let the clear coat cure for about 24 hours now. So now with that little run, I'm going to get a 1200 grit, and then we'll go up to like a 2500 grit. And I'm just going to sand over that tiny, where is it? Yeah, over that tiny little bit of clear coat there that's bubbled up. Well, not bubbled up, it ran. So yeah, we're going to sand that down, get it a bit smooth, and then I'm probably going to go over the whole tank again, and then I'm going to add like another coat or two of clear coat just to even everything out and just make sure there's a nice deep glossy effect to it. So yeah, let's crack on. Right, so bowl of water, sanding sponges in it, soaking, and then we're going to wet sand. We're going to start with I think it's the ultra fine. Start with the ultra fine, and then we'll work our way up to the micro fine. What I'm doing here is I'm making sure to constantly keep the tank wet and the sandpaper wet to avoid any dry sanding, and I'm just very lightly, with almost no pressure, just going back and forth in that little spot trying to get rid of it. So we're pretty much still feel a slight little bump, and that, as you guys can probably see, I don't know how well you guys can see it, but that is now completely gone. What I'm doing now is I'm taking the ultra fine sanding sponge, again making sure it's nice and wet, and I'm going to go over the entire tank, keying it in, making sure that when I apply the next coat of clear coat, it all sticks evenly. What I'm aiming for is a nice dull finish over the entire tank, so I know that everything's been sanded nicely. Now what we're going to want to do, now we've sanded over the entire thing, we're going to get a clean cloth, wipe it down, then we're going to grab our IPA again, and we're going to clean it all off, and then we're ready for clear coat. I'll add probably 2, maybe 3 more layers of clear coat, just because I can't remember exactly how many I put on yesterday, and I just want to make sure it's got enough so it doesn't rub through at any point. So yeah, I'm going to go grab a cloth, and then we'll wipe it down, clear it, we'll clean it, and then add more clear on top. So we've got our IPA, and literally can do exactly what we did yesterday. A little bit on there, and just wipe over the entire tank. All we're doing is trying to get that slurry sort of stuff that we just took off. Why is that getting? So next we'll take one of these U-pole tack cloths and we'll tack over it to make sure there's nothing on it. We've got a can of Body Shop lacquer, which I've stuck in the sun and then shaken for about 3 minutes so it warms it up, so it applies a bit nicer. What I'm doing to start off with is I'm just giving it a light dust coat, and then what I'll do is as we move to different coats I'll make them heavier and heavier to give it that deep glossy finish. Now I put the first layer of clear coat on. We'll leave it about 5-10 minutes. It is about 30 degrees, so don't have to leave it as long as you normally would. And then after the 5-10 minutes we'll do one more coat, and then I'll probably do one other coat after that just to give it a nice deep glossy finish. Oh, fuck's sake. Done it fucking again. So, halfway through doing the clear coats, my camera died, so I just had to crack on doing it. But we had a couple of slight issues, little dots and runs and stuff that were just, it was almost like the cam would spray fine, and then all of a sudden a couple of blobs would come flying out of the nozzle. But I worked with what I had, and well, in my opinion, it's come out pretty well. You guys are going to have to wait to see the final result. I did just record it to show you guys, but I'm thinking I'm going to wait until I've polished it, because that will be the next part, so you can see it being polished and everything else, and then you can see the final finish of the paint. Let's just say I'm happy with it. There's a little bit of what's called orange peel. To be honest with you, I don't know how to stop it, because I have tried all sorts of different techniques and ways to do it, but I'm obviously still doing something wrong. It might be because it's a 1K clear coat and not a 2K, but I'm not really sure. But I'm happy with the results. So yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it till tomorrow now. So I'll pick up this video where I left off tomorrow. But it's been about 5 days. We've now got a 2,500 grit sandpaper, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take the tank back outside, I'm gonna stick it on the table, and then we're gonna give it a light sanding with the 2,500 grit, just to try and get rid of some of the orange peel that's on the tank. And then what we'll do from there is I'll take a Maguire's polish or any sort of paint compound polish and polish it up and get it all nice and buffed out, so then it should get rid of most of the orange peel and then keep the nice glossy finish that we've already got on it. But as you can see, if you get a bit closer, you can see all the orange peel looking effect onto it. So it's basically just for us to get rid of that now. What I'll do is I won't touch any of this lower part because it won't ever be seen. I'm literally going to polish from this line up and over. Same with this bit. I won't ever polish this because there's no point. I'll just polish all around here. So same with the sanding. Literally sand probably down to here. So here we have some 2,500 grit wrapped round a sanding foam block so it's nice and so it can move around basically. And we're going to keep this nice and wet. What I'm going to do first actually is I'm just going to wipe off the dirt that's on here. But then what we'll do is I'm going to keep your bowl of water closed, get a bowl of water, soak this for like 10-15 minutes, put a little bit of soap in there. And then all we're going to do is just lightly, and I mean very lightly, just sand over. As you can see, I'm just very, very lightly wet sanding over it. All I'm trying to do is just knock back a bit of the orange peel. I don't want to go through the clear coat, which is why we're being so light with it. You can see now there's like a uniform dull appearance to the tank. There's a couple of areas that need just going over, but I just want to show you guys what I was sort of aiming for. You get this like dull sort of, and then it will all polish back out hopefully. So we're now going to use the Maguire's Ultimate Compound and just a foam polishing pad, and then we're literally going to go over everywhere, working in about the area of the size of my hand, and basically just bring back that uniform gloss look to it, as now it obviously looks very matte and dull and like it's got no gloss to it. So I'm going to try and do it sort of half so you can see the difference of when it's actually been polished. Unfortunately, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the camera, but unfortunately the orange peel has stayed a bit more than I would have liked, but I don't want to risk sanding it too much and sanding through the clear coat because again, I'm not a professional at this. With it, I don't want to go too much with the sanding because then I might have to re-clear it, which to be honest with you, with it being a track bike and it being aerosol cans that I've used, I'm not too fussed about it. If it had been a spray gun, I'd be trying to get it a bit more perfect, but this is a track bike. It will have some sort of tank grips and probably a livery on the bike as well, so we're not overly worried. We just want to get rid of the majority of it, if you know what I mean. As you can see, the difference from here to here after sanding to polishing, very dull, and then obviously you got the reflection on it. You can see my hand and everything. This side you can as well, but you see more of the reflection there. So that's, we're aiming for this sort of finish. I'll probably give everywhere a polish once, and then I might go over the whole thing again, or I might just do sections in two. So as I say, I polish this, I might polish it over again now, and then I'll move further on. So after doing some hand polishing, it's come out pretty nice, but there's a couple of bits that I'm not too happy with. Just a bit dull, and not that I'm not happy with, they just need more of a polishing really. So I'm going to grab the electric polisher out, and we're just going to give either the whole tank or some areas a go over with that, just so we can get a nice, so there's not still that dull little finish to it, because it's still there in a couple places, like around here, and just a couple places I'm not too happy with. But as you can see, it's pretty well done, but we have still got that orange peel, unfortunately. So I probably, as I say, I probably could have sanded more, but I don't really want to, because I don't want to risk messing anything up, basically. We have the finished painted final piece, all polished. Well, I just realised that I never filmed the outro for this video, because in filming the outro I also hit the stop record button. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, drop a like and a subscribe down below. There's a couple more videos to come on the R6 still. The next video will be fitting the track fairings, and then we'll be painting them and getting the bike fully ready to go back on the track. So I will see you guys in the next one.